Okay, hello there. I just want to read you a chapter from my book that I'm writing. It's yet another story. I was working in a restaurant, a small Italian place with delicious homemade food. Then, 9 months pregnant with my only son. It was lunchtime, and a lovely couple walked in. To give you a little background before this encounter, I was also a memorial artist, not as busy as I would like to be. Therefore, I worked a few days a week in this restaurant as a server. Now, with a baby on the way and a fiance who was not working at the time, I needed this additional job to pay our bills. As a memorial craftsman and designer, I was working with a salesman where I ordered granite plaques to create original concepts. I expressed an interest in the company and asked if they would consider hiring me with my experience and ability to design and craft handmade memorials. He claimed they had an etcher, but suggested an opportunity where I could make money at my craft. I had no idea what they were offering, but it sounded intriguing. So we set up an appointment to meet in Washington, D.C. I purchased train tickets for the first time, as I usually would drive. The meeting was set for Friday at noon, and my fiance took me to the train station that morning. With a kiss on the cheek, he left me at the door. I was nervous as ever, since I had never done anything like this before. But the details of this meeting will be in another chapter. Now, as I stated earlier, I met a nice couple the day before my trip to Washington, D.C. They were from out of town, not sure why they decided on this place since it was in a corner of a shopping center not seen from the roadway. Maybe they read a review. I believe it was fate that I waited on them. Since they were very nice, the man was very intuitive because he asked me a lot of questions about my personal life and my ambitions. I think he could see I wasn't sure of my future. When they were finished eating their lunch, I explained I am in the monument industry. I told him that I was nervous about getting on a train the next day for the first time, heading to meet with a company that produces granite monuments of all sizes from China. He started to talk about positive mindset and believing in yourself. He said, you can have the life that you really want. You just have to believe in it, like magic. He also said you must learn to have positive thoughts and affirmations. He had other things to say. I don't remember the particulars, and I never did ask his name. But I surely remember that he said, if you can go to the local bookstore and look for a book called Believing in Magic. He said the author's name and I didn't write it down, but he claimed that if I read it with an open heart, it would surely help change my perspective on life. I remembered Believing in Magic was in the title. I set out to do what he suggested, and The Magic of Believing is what I found by Claude M. Bristol. Going to the bookstore, not only did I find this one last book on the shelf, but right next to it was the book called Dare to Win by Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen. These two books actually helped me leave my abusive relationship with my fiance, my son's father. And although it may not have been the best choice to move home, it was the fastest way to remove myself from his abuse. And since I was paying all the bills, I would also save money. I didn't want to move home, honestly. It was supposed to be temporary. That's a whole new book. How I stayed home so long was clearly meant to be. My son was only 9 months old when I left his father. Although there was still 3 months left on the lease, I paid my landlord in full to the end of our agreement so I didn't ruin my credit. Clearly, that has happened anyway, but I'm trying my best to get my credit back to good standing, and so this total stranger helped me to get away from what would have been much worse. I believe it's the connection to my spirit that brought him to me. Nothing is a coincidence with God. Although I have to admit that negativity and the inability to love myself properly has kept me in a negative state of mind for way too long. I had not yet discovered the fact that amalgam fillings cause mercury poisoning, which in turn cause depression and suicidal thoughts. I did learn so much from reading these two books, even started writing goals and achieving them. My career was great for several years because I finally learned to love and believe in myself, that I matter and I have value. Even though I've read these books on positive thinking, even though all the books I've read on positive thinking have helped me, I kept falling back into the pit of doom, but I keep getting back up. I realize that it is in my power to change my life, and I am able to accept myself and love myself for the gifts from our Creator. Finally, saying all this today, I am very grateful to the angels always showing up the way they do. That is why I believe I discovered the book, The Cure for All Diseases by Hilda Clark. And this happened in 2003 when my son was only 4 years old. And this book saved my life for sure. I am not sure who that man was who told me that I could have the life that I wanted by just believing in magic, but I started to think to myself, maybe it was Jack Canfield, or maybe just another angel. Thank you for listening.